hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is DB333 and welcome back to our turn for the New Order Last Days of Europe as Komi. Now, last video we took out, we annexed Kostroma, we ate the Order of St. George, and we nommed up Vyatka over here, who ate up Berzniki and the Aryan Brotherhood, and those guys ate up Bashkira. So we're in a pretty bad political power deficit. It's not looking too good for our political power right now. We're gaining 0.7 a day. No, 0.07 a day. Excuse me. Now we're gaining almost 0.2 a day. Which is still fucking horrible, but, we're gaining a little bit. So I think we'll go ahead, go down all this, and probably go ahead. They'll give us 50 political power right there. A red blizzard. Okay, I'm gonna have to pay very close attention here. Miss Zhdanov appraised the red splayed walls, her face carefully blank. The arsonist, or artists as they probably think of themselves, had certainly been visionary in their use of palette. Bold lines and strokes formed the foundation for an extravagant, if confusing, mosaic of red and black. Here and there are what appear to be the angular form of planes. Rockets, perhaps? Arose from a scintillating mist around them, nestled in the ocean of red font like Venus of Botticelli. And at the bottom of it all, slogan, "The world of tomorrow with today's socialism. Follow the visionary line." Zhdanov sniffed. They'd have to do better if they wanted to impress the headmaster of a Kotlas school for young artists. Dipping a sponge into her bucket of water, she began to scrub the amateur's enthusiasm away. Perhaps her next work would be more inspired, or at least less excessive in its use of outlines. The next week, the propaganda was back, bolder and more garish than ever. The arsonists, whoever they were, had evidently reacted by doubling down. Bolder and crazier, the red mist foamed in every corner. New symbols of progress, arrows reaching ever upwards, lifted atop a sea of crimson arms and hands holding hammers. Above them all, a rocket bearing the spindly wheels of the atom rose like Jupiter into the shaded red sun rays. The slogan had at least been shortened. Zhdanov today, the stars tomorrow. Miss Zhdanov stared and stared, and then she began to giggle. It was so bold it was almost endearing. She grabbed a paintbrush and began to write a note in blue paint. If the culprit was coming back on a regular basis, perhaps she could at least teach him a couple of things about the damned outlining. And so it continued, this strange courtship, and on the wall new slogans blossomed, as if heralding the coming of some unimaginable spring. A little friendship to warm the socialist heart. Let's see, we got that done. We can get working on some more industry next. Let's formally abolish purges. I'm sure that will last. With Zhdanov's leadership, the party will soften its stance on those who hold different ideological opinions in the party. For change to take place, for democratic change to take place, there must be a wealth of different men and women in a vibrant dialogue. The tradition of mass party purges, removing hundreds of people from the party for their ideology, will end. No longer will those who have barely lifted a finger against the party be expelled from it. In its place, anyone who is suspected of counter-revolutionary activity or denounced will have an individual inquiry led by a neutral commission of party members. Without due process, justice ceases to exist. Without questioning, the party ceases to exist. Man, going in kind of complicates things. Okay. I mean, good luck with that. I don't exactly know how you guys plan to get through. Well, I mean, in theory I know how, but are they actually going to use the access? Let's reconcile the factions. Any scholar of political history knows the danger posed by factionalism. The ability of a man to tear apart the social order seems to have some grounding in nature, for it is the natural conclusion to every system in history. And yet our hindsight will allow us to avoid a certain fate. The scientific order of the party will steer us away from factions. Reconciliation, not conflict, is the key to unity. The Orthodox faction think us betrayers of Sewell's legacy. Our party diplomats and envoys will assure them that our visionary faction seeks to advance Suslov's legacy, ideology, and dream, not to stop them on it. The party is just as orthodox, if not more orthodox, than it was before Zhdanov's ascendance. No revisionism is tolerated. Andrei Zhdanov seldom frowned, save in the presence of some immense political contortion, which is not particularly rare in the Communist Party, Komi. The massive stack of paperwork on his desk, only ever shrinking by incremental amounts, was not helping his migraine. Each of the papers he was reviewing had to be individually approved by the party general secretary and the chairman. Both positions now belonged to him. Signatures on the front and back approving a very precise pattern of redactions upon their work. And the redaction was only the beginning. For those who were still alive and relevant to these papers, it had to be brought before the general secretary and vetted for approval. An approval like the next one, and God, he was 30 minutes behind schedule. It would have to be quick. Zhdanov waved at a guard to bring the next person in. A ragged man stumbled onto the carpeted floor, his hands shaking. He bore still the suits typical of all apartichiks, now rid of holes and patched in parts. The bulk of torn leather he clutched had evidently once been a suitcase. He gazed in confusion for a moment, and then he knelt and bowed to the General Secretary, his whole body trembling with the effort. General Secretary, please revise my removal from the party. My only crime was to have criticized our propaganda effort. A heinous one, but... Andrei Bereznev, by Party Directive A221, your sentence of expulsion is hereby negated. You are to be restored to your position on the propaganda work team. It's my duty to inform you that the party will no longer authorize mass expulsions from its ranks. Instead, we will individually assess accusations before... Zhdanov looked up to see the man hugging a confused guardsman, sobbing with relief. He sighed, ticking a box in the form, and put on his finish pile. It would be a very long day. Another mistake rectified. There we go. God, the tax rate is killing us. Public education, affirmative action... Cronyism isn't helping much either. Motherfuckers. Next, we'll go ahead and have the stars rise. The Reformist faction was once relegated to the margins of internal party politics. Its voice was silenced by orthodox suppression, relentless attacks with the party's official ideological platform. No longer are dissident voices suppressed. All oppressed may cry free. The Reformists are no longer the coalition of rising stars they once were. It is the ruling strand of the party. The Orthodox faction are now the ones sidelined. With the rapid rise of power comes much more responsibility. The faction, now much of the party, must seize the general secretaryship and begin talks to form a formal government to rule the republic. We may only hope we keep to our ideals as we finally take the reins of power. There we go. We're gaining power, and we're also almost immediately losing it. Part of that is these guys. Another part is that we don't have any fucking garrisons. Oh, we have so many fucking garrisons. That's more what I mean. These stars are risen. Well, we have so many fucking garrisons because we have to core all this shit. Integrate Perm and Vyatka. Those are the two big ones right now we need to work on. From here... we'll go ahead and found the Bureau of Ideological Analysis. I think we did that. Actually, the political pain... Yep. Since Sinecure is a peculiar word. One might argue, in fact, that the role of a sinecure simply does not exist in Marxist thought. After all, from each according to his ability, to each according to his needs. What harm does a so-called useless job bring if every man is entitled to his needs? It's not to say that Suslov is receiving a senator, as harmless as that would be. In fact, he is to be promoted. A man of his stature should not be relegated to bureaucratic work and party squabbling. A new bureau has been created in which he is the head. This bureau, the Bureau of Ideological Analysis, will be one in which Suslov is the sole power to resolve contradictions between the party platform and established Leninist doctrine. There is a really very real possibility that this bureau may potentially influence some facets of Leninist doctrine in the coming years. It may even lead to some suggestions offered to the Congress of the Soviets. Truly marvelous. He's getting a bullshit job. That's basically it. But hey, we're not killing him. Which is more than you can say for the Bucharina game. Victory for Democrazia Christiana. Let's delete some of these crappier divisions that we're not using. Let's see, you are... I mean, we only have one more thing we can do. Let's try to fulfill our promises. When we struck our deal with the front, an agreement was made to begin the process of integration once Vyatka, Vologda, and Gaining were handled. Now, with their military defeat, the time has come to begin integration. We wholeheartedly expect the front to follow through on their end, though there are a few who believe that they will sell us out. In any case, let us reach out to the front to begin the process of integration. Hey, Maxim, you hear the news about Suslov? Got tucked away in the Bureau for Ideological Analysis. Who hasn't? Almost feel sorry for the guy. Relegated to doing paperwork that will almost never be read by anyone. Party leadership says it's a promotion, but if I were in his position, I'd want to blow my brains out. I mean, it's better than being shot or disappeared. Many if things get bad, he could even find himself in a decent position to turn his current promotion into a natural promotion. I don't see it happening. The party seems pretty stable right now. I think Suslov would be screaming in his forgotten little corner of headquarters for a long time to come. You're probably right. Seems ironic to me that such an ambitious guy like Suslov would get purged through a promotion of all things. The perfect position for a man like Suslov. That's my amateur attempt at a Russian accent. I'm gonna hope that they say yes and agree to integration. Just because that didn't happen in the Bucharina game, and I think it would be a lot more fun if that ends up happening. And it'll make things quicker for me, you know? Raise the red banner, serve the Republic. We got a couple of good options here. Well, we got another factory. I'll go ahead and save the game right here now. Oh. Pragmatist for unified Kazakhstan. A little boring, but what are you going to do? Okay, they're beating Ukraine. They have struggled to do that in the past. Oh, fuck, I knocked my mic. I hit my pop filter. Excerpt from Consolidating. Response to the West Russian Comrades United Front. Special publication of the Komi ASSR. It's always to be expected that our brothers in arms would one day find us their natural allies and equals, and it's with great joy that we announce that the inevitable has finally occurred. We look to the world with expectant eyes. To the rest of our motherland, the generals of the front hope to find in us the ideological strength and the collective will to undo the undoing of the nation. They can rest assured that they will find us more than sufficient. We must not rest on our laurels, however. The time has come to use the massive armaments of Arkhangelsk has gathered. The warlords around us, our scattered domain, are restless. They see the march of history in their eyes. The time is coming when they will attempt to stop it. We must simply beat them to the punch. Let us not be afraid of the future, comrades. The triumph was long delayed, But it, like the world revolution, like the spinning of the world itself, will come one day. Only our resolve is required, that on that day we might stand in the hollowed ranks of the martyrs and say, I was there when history needed me. Glory to the revolution! That is nice. There we go. 100 political power. God knows we fucking need that right now. As expected, the front is willing to begin integration talks. While both sides agree to integrating, the details of its unification need to be hashed out. Therefore, we shall host talks between the front and Komi in the city of Rykov in order to ensure integration happens smoothly. It's generally agreed upon that Komi will lead the civilian side of the government, while the front will integrate into and lead the Red Army. With luck, integration will happen smoothly, and we'll be ready to smash the rest of the West Russian warlords. There aren't too much. We have Tatarstan, we have Samara, which is broken, and we have Gorky. Honestly, I think the most annoying one might be, the most painful one to deal with might be Gorky, honestly. Tactical support, popular vision. Oh. Rykov Conference. Let's go work on more artillery while we're here. Let's go ahead and integrate their generals. The front, more than anything, is a state led by its generals. It was Voroshilov who led the front during and after the West Russian War. It was Zhukov's rule that allowed Komi and the front to unify. Therefore, it's very important that we commission the generals of the front under our Red Army. While symbolic, it shows that the military will bow to civilian authority when it is present, which is a very important precedent to set. Furthermore, this integration of the generals allow us full access to people with a very high level of military acumen, which we desperately need if we are to reunify Russia. Let's bring the generals of the front into the fold. Yes. Yes. Yeah, why not? Sverdlovsk, because eating them? Igor's gone, so we just have Vorkuta, and they're good to go. So we'll get a bunch of nice new generals and field marshals. The general we have right now is okay, if only for the extra max army size. Although if there's anyone better, we might swap him out. But if there's anyone else, it might be worth checking out. Pacific Light. Let's go ahead and check who we got. Got a fair few generals now. Some of them aren't god awful even. Let's see, Valentine. He's okay. I think I'll go with Vasily Ivanov. Offensive, yeah. From here, merge the bureaucracies. Last step in integrating with the front is to merge our bureaucracies. As the bureaucracy is a filling job, it shall fall under our control. There's no need for us to drastically change it, seeing it's already of sufficiently revolutionary nature already. Furthermore, Zhukov has managed to root out any corrupt bureaucrats that have appeared after the front war. All that is left for us to do is to reorganize the districts and ensure that through the bureaucracy the front reports to us. Through deft negotiations, we've managed to gain the power and might of the front. Now let's finish bringing the front into the fold and move against the remaining warlords. Excellent. Let's see, we'll have an ultimatum to Gorky. Oh, let's start that. So I think we'll start by moving our troops to Gorky and seeing if we can't just nom them. Through civilian factories, shield broken. Let's see what ended up happening. Status quo. Not bad for VOFN. And I guess we have to side with those capitalist pigs. This time around. More than anyone, at least. They may be capitalist pigs, but they are capitalist pigs. God damn it. Well, it's feeling construction 3. And next, incorporate Arkhangelsk. Despite the attempts at the front, the Germans were able to successfully bomb the far north very heavily. Many of these roads and railroads are in ruins, and towns and cities need to be rebuilt in order to be of any use. So therefore prudent that we will send economic aid northward. The economic aid will be focused on the Arkhangelsk Oblast, as it has the most potential for development. It was also bombed the most. We shall build new factories, restore the railroads, and modernize the houses. This economic development should allow for the North to quickly become a productive part of the country, allowing for us to have a stronger economic base as we move against the rest of the warlords. There we go. Whew! More troops. A whole 10 extra divisions even. That is beautiful. That brings a tear to my eye. Integrate these guys, and we'll integrate Utka last. Battle for Italia. Mamma mia. We got Lyndon, boring game Johnson. I played as a game a little bit recently, actually. A little bit of LBJ. Not going all the way with him. Not that he'd be a bad president in the TNO timeline necessarily. I just think this game's fucking boring because it doesn't have cool Senate mechanics. It's just, uh-oh. Yeah, it's just boring as fuck. So I'm curious. We could end the ROA and then get working on some of this stuff. So I think fuck it. We'll do that. And the ROA, get some stability, all this political power, and we'll finish these off eventually. The ROA are nothing but collaborators. They may speak of reunifying Russia and freeing it from communism, but the fact remains that they willingly side with the people who caused this era of warlordism. The time has come to destroy Vaslov's ilk once and for all, and so Russia can be free from these traitors. There we go. Look at that, the West Russian United Front. That's pretty cool. Sverdlovsk is unified. We'll see what ends up happening there. Get some more guns. Let's get working on some fighters as well. And the ROA, go ahead and declare war on them. And go. Can we not do any of these? It does not look like we can. Yeah, we have to be at peace for all of these. Well. Worse things right about now. Take that point in Samara. Samara's probably one of the easiest warlords to deal with, especially when they work properly and they're all expanded. Because their core times take forever. So you gotta, you know, you can eat these guys. They eat these guys up and they eat Gorky up So their troops are spread out around this bit, as well as here, but they don't have cores on it by the time that they're done. So you can just sneak into their core land over here, and that's really all it takes to take them out. It's very easy. You have here, here. Sometimes you have to go up to there. In fact, it's often enough that sometimes you have to do it a fair bit enough. Well, sometimes you don't. I don't even know if you have to necessarily. You can just do that. Yeah, I don't even remember if you have to or not. Actually, you do. You have to take another one of these. It might be this, and you're good, honestly. Do another offensive line into there. There we go. Since, they don't have any territory and they didn't expand, this is a lot closer and bloodier than it usually is. But in my luck, Samar is pretty easy to deal with if you know what to do. And if they've expanded a reasonable bit enough. Take those guys out. Go ahead and integrate Utka. 65 days, not bad. Kick him out. And there we go. The traders will never get to tell their side of a story. Because who wants to hear their fucking side, the fucking nerds? Let's do the ultimatum with Gorky. While Gorky's consistent raids against the Germans and Muscovian are greatly appreciated, the time has come to bring the tanks back into the fold of a Red Army. We'll send Avarian an ultimatum to integrate with Komi in our Red Army or face invasion and defeat. Hopefully Avarian is intelligent enough to pick integration, but if he's not, our armies will storm his lands and raise the Red Banner high. Speaking of high, happy 420, everyone. At least that's when I'm recording this. It already would have happened already by the time this is up, but it's what's happening today, so I figured I'd wish you all a happy, haha, funny wee day. Integrating Utka, eventually we'll get working on Samara. Samara's a good one to integrate. Ultimatum with Gorky, let's get working on the West becoming ours. Despite all the odds stacked against us, we have managed to bring all of West Russia under one banner, a feat not seen since the 50s. However, our conquests, while glorious, were swift. We must devote our energies towards consolidating our new lands. We must ensure that Perm is scourged clean of the Brotherhood. The lands of the ROA soldiers are captured. Most importantly, we must end the lawlessness present in our lands. It will be a difficult task, but one that is necessary, as we cannot afford our state to be on the brink of total anarchy. Gotta tell my buddy, hold on for a second. There we go. Working on artillery barrage. Excellent. This day marks a victory for socialism in West Russia. As Gorky has welcomed Komi's government with open arms, seeing the similarities we share and eager to see the motherland strong and reunite under a leftist government to fight the German menace, the military government agreed to unify with us. A joint military parade was organized in the streets of Gorky outside of the massive tank factory. Thousands came to see it and celebrate the unification of the two regimes, further demonstrating the popularity we have in the city. Furthermore, the city's army, well known for its use of armored fighting vehicles, to a great extent has clearly demonstrated its loyalty to Komi, not only through the parade, but through willingly joining with our own Red Army and beginning to use their integration to the high command. Thankfully, we did not have to use bloodshed to bring Gorky under our control. Workers of the world, unite. Heck yeah. So, there's only one left. Got a little bit of a despotism boost, but what are you going to do? Offensive line into Kazan. Just have him do that. See what happens there. Eventually. Integrate Samara first. There we go. I think, how's our mechanization's coming along pretty well, actually. Agriculture, maybe? Let's do academic base. Because we're going to need a lot of smart boys and girls. So maybe research facilities. No, we got to get people to fill the labs. Who aren't fucking idiots, you know? We can survey the Republic and then strike the Separatists and then do these two while we go to war with Finland. If we're to reunite Russia, we need to have access to the full potential of our territory, which is something we lack as of now. While there is some resistance against us, the primary problem is that we lack knowledge on what resources are, what our resources are, and where we can get new resources. Even with us piecing together everything we have, there are still large swaths of our land we know nothing about. Time has come for us to conduct a full survey of West Russia. This survey will include cities so that we can fully understand what needs to be rebuilt in the countryside, so we can acquire access to new resources. It may take time, but we will need it in order to move Russia forward and reunite Russia. There we go. So that's going great. See, I got, okay, he's confirming the tutoring session. Very nice. We could raid Orenburg, beat the shit out of them. I think we're done with loot. With the building of new schools, I think we're done with loot. Civilian construction 3. More industry, early industrial robotics. Next, let's strike the Separatists. Republic of Tatarstan is yet another example of how the separatism strikes at the worst possible moments. When they existed as a Tatar SSR on the front, they revolted as the front collapsed, weakening even more. Knowing this is fairly obvious that I have no interest in peacefully joining a communist Russia, therefore leaving us only one option: invasion. We shall strike against these separatists and bring them back under the fold. I'll readjust this offensive line. Do something like that. Fuck, yeah. That looks horrible, but we'll go with it for now. I don't know how that's really gonna work, but we will find out. Gorky, or no, not the one above it. Got one integration done. Samara's gonna make it 2. I think that was Utka we finished up. And soon we can integrate Gorky. Come on. Add another division for now. Strike the Separatist. Go for it. Prince of the death of Prince Dibadubadu. There they push. There we go. Keep pushing. We're doing great right now. Freedom was a thing worth dying for. Apparently it's worth getting killed over, too. Am I right, ladies? Ayo. So I think for now, Tatarstan or Gorky. Let's integrate Tatarstan. What else is there to do? Other than, you know, beat up some Finns coming up. But form the West Russian Soviet Federation. Reports from the region of West Russia confirm that the land, once populated by numerous warlord states, has now fallen under the rule of one, what formerly comprised of Komi Republic. Andrei Zhdanov appears to be the head of newly declared Western Soviet Federation, as made apparent by his address to announce the unification. After usurping power from an old ally of his, former Komi president Nikolai Vysnetsky, and defeating rival factions in the left wing, Zhdanov's dominance is indisputable. A socialist alternative, has been promised to the Russian people by their new general secretary. His libertarian leanings and populist rhetoric have already made him a widely popular leader, although opposition still exists. Socialism has been reborn. Next, let's prepare our industry. That'll be very good again. With our increased access to resources combined with our new conquest, the time has finally come to expand our industrial output. Firstly, we must integrate the Kuibyshev industry into our own. Their output must be factored into our planning and industrial production. Secondly, we must begin to build new factories into our lands. Our access to new resources allow for industry to diversify, letting us produce different products. With a new combination of Kuibyshev industry and new factories, we can be prepared for future wars, and we can support the industrial workers, which is a core part of our mandate. There we go. From here on, let's work on better artillery. Ooh, West Siberian Republic. They went with the alcoholic. Very interesting. It said we're missing something and it didn't tell us what, so I'll assume we're not missing it anymore. Our industry. And I guess we're invading Onega. I'm recording, go. I'm recording. Sorry about that. Let's raise the red banner. Most of our new lands are not run by communists, and it shows. There's a fair amount of apprehension towards the government, as people believe that it will collapse like the old Soviet Union of old. We must spread propaganda and inform the people that it was not communism's innate weaknesses that ruined Russia, but the insidious Germans who sought to annihilate us. Furthermore, we must try to encourage people to show pride in the Soviet Union. After all, it was under the Soviet Union that there was peace, not the monarchists of the Russian Republic. We shall raise the red banner of communism in every village and town so the people see that we have returned to liberate all. There we go. Bring up the strikes. So we got 2 red. We got a democracy and whatever the fuck Rurik is doing. Well, I guess there goes our. That's canceled. Well, knowing that that's a Well, you guys know the deal. Time to beat up some Finns. And with that, Onega's gone. We restart that. Offensive line into Finland proper. Let's get a vision for the people going. Zhdanov has a vision, one that encompasses the entirety of Russia. He believes in a strong, democratic state, where the people are both free and at the same time capable of rallying for a strong leader in time of need. With our holdover of the state secured, we can start working on our long-term projects for Komi, and also slowly prepare for our nation and our people for the greatest struggle of our time, the reclamation of the Soviet Union. So, I'm not sure if you noticed, but these focuses look fucking insane. So, yeah, sports rivalries. Oh my god, these look fucking insane. These are sweet. I love them. You have a vision for the people, and that vision will be realized in the next video, because I'm going to have to cut here, ladies and gentlemen. I know, it's getting good. We're about to kill Finnish people. That's always fun. Sorry, Diablo. But we got to cut it here. So thanks as always for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you like, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you want to see more of this content feature, hit the sub button. From uploads every weekday, as well as sometimes Saturdays. If you have any comments, feedback, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. I read all comments again. Appreciate any feedback you might have for me. Want to send a few bucks my way every month? I have Patreon. If you're to chat or play games, I have a Discord. If you want to see me do a search for live, I have a Twitch. I'll put you down in the description box below. That's it for now, ladies and gentlemen. My name has been Dogboat333, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.